Let's get more now on our top story, rising tensions between Russia and Ukraine. I'm joined from Lancaster by James Summers, a professor of international law at Lancaster University. James, thanks for your time this evening. Now, we've been hearing from various countries at the UN Security Council on this issue. Strong condemnation from the US, while Britain has spoken about the Novichok attack in Salisbury, which it's blamed on Russia. It said Russia is not a responsible country and doesn't follow the rules of an international system. Is this a fair statement?
Well, of course, that's what you would expect those countries to say. The problem is that the Security Council is fundamentally, its hands are tied on this matter, because although the United States or Britain or other countries can condemn Russia, ultimately Russia holds a veto on the Security Council, and any further action, any substantive action, will simply be vetoed by Russia in the Council.
So Moscow says Kiev is working with the US and the EU to provoke a conflict. If this is the case, why would Ukraine want to take this type of action?
Well, of course, this is what Russia says, and we don't know the precise truth of the matter. We've seen video footage has emerged which seems to show the Russian ships deliberately ramming the Ukrainian vessels. And of course, we can speculate there may be a number of reasons why Russia might want to ramp up tension at this point, connected with internal Russian politics. So, of course, this is the thing, that Russia makes allegations, Ukraine makes allegations, and ultimately people are left to decide who they believe. And of course, that is quite a deliberate strategy on the Russian part as well.
What's Russia hoping to achieve with this strategy?
The argument is that it may be a way of rallying domestic support around President Putin, but also it highlights Ukraine's fundamental weakness. Russia, by controlling the Crimea, essentially creates a bottleneck for Ukraine. A large part of its coastline now has to pass through, literally, through the legs of a bridge that Russia has built. So Russia really is able to effectively seal off a large part of Ukraine's coastline, including the economically and strategically important port of Mariupol, which in the Donetsk war that took place after Russia's seizure of Crimea in 2014 was the front line and remains the front line in the conflict between those states. So it's a way of Russia putting pressure on the Ukrainians. The fact that they seized those three vessels, vessels that have been part of Ukraine's attempt to modernize its navy, again, a way of showing Ukraine's fundamental weakness and the ability of Russia essentially to choke Ukraine and blockade it if it so wishes. Now, of course, a blockade would be a massive escalation of this conflict. If it were to completely close off this strait, that would be a massive escalation. At the moment, this incident hasn't been followed up with anything more, so we'll see which way it develops from here.
So, Professor Summers, we're hearing at the moment, the latest coming from Ukraine is that they're implementing martial law. It starts on Wednesday. What does this mean for the country?
Well, again, there's a speculation as to whether the President Poroshenko is using this again as a way of dealing with his own domestic unpopularity. He's facing election, and martial law may be a way perhaps for him to postpone those elections. So, for both leaders in Russia and Ukraine, this provides a way of rallying people to the flag, in a sense. Now, this doesn't mean to say that one side is innocent or both sides are equally culpable. One side may well have initiated this incident, but this is something that both sides can play to their domestic agendas.
Professor James Summers, thank you for your time this evening.